So this is the 13th annual Texas Wireless Summit. It's an event that we've been putting on every year as part of our research center, the Wireless Networking and Communications Group. This year, the event has 6 sponsors. Qualcomm, who has sponsored the event several times in the past, is one of our affiliates for many years of our center. Huawei this year is also a sponsor. They've also been a sponsor of our center for a number of years and a heavy supporter of our research. Ritsu and Rody Schwartz are sponsors as well, despite working in a similar area of test and measurement, and both of them have been long-term supporters of the group here. Now, an interesting feature this year is that we're going to be live streaming this event on RCR Wireless. And so if you want to tell your friends who couldn't make it here, your colleagues in your office, so you go to the RCR website, and I think it's on the top tab with events, and then you'll see a Texas Wireless Summit right there. And so they'll be able to see everything that's happening here. And then finally, I'd like to acknowledge support from the IEEE ComSoc Central Texas chapter, and this chapter has actually won numerous awards from IEEE and ComSoc, and being very high quality, so we're happy to have their support as well. So now I'm going to continue here and introduce Professor Sanjay Shakatai. He is Professor in Electrical and Computer Engineering and Director of the Wireless Networking and Communications Group. And so he's going to tell you a little bit about the center that we built up at UT. Sanjay.
Thank you, Robert. It's a pleasure for me to invite you all to the Texas Wireless Summit and to Austin. WNCG, the Wireless Networking and Communications Group, has had an incredible journey. We started in 2003. And over the last 12 to 15, over the last 13 years, we have become a powerhouse indeed in the wireless space. Our group consists of about 20 faculty members, and the interests span from electromagnetics, metamaterials, physical layer, MAC, all the way up the stack to applications. So in addition to sort of wireless, WNCG is indeed a really broad and multidisciplinary group. We have folks from the materials to data science to applications. And I hope that during the poster session today, you see some of our research and what our students do. Our partners in this are our industrial affiliates who help support us, who help us with our research and guide our future directions. A special thank you to all of them for their continued support over many, many years. Third aspect is our students. Our students go and change the world from standards to research in industry, to development, to top stars in academia. And we are extremely proud of them, and they're one of the reasons why we are so, that WNCG is so good. So again, welcome to Austin, welcome to UT, and hope you enjoy the show. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm your other co-host along with Robert, so we're all just getting a little FaceTime here at the beginning before we get on to the real content that you've all come here for. So, when Robert and I sat down and talked about what we wanted to do for this year's Texas Wireless Summit, we knew we wanted to do something on 5G, since it's, that's really encompasses a great deal that's happening in wireless right now, even things that aren't traditionally handled by cellular, as we'll see. And we wanted to first really motivate, why do we need 5G? I mean, as engineers, we sit around, we look at these hockey charts of the data demands going up, but we want to understand what really is going to be new, fundamentally new about 5G, because that, of course, will drive the engineering requirements that we develop in standards over the next several years. So this morning is really focused on that, on this aspect, the why question, not the how question. And for this, we'll first start with Brian Madoff. It's become something of a tradition here that Brian leads off. He was the head telecom analyst for Deutsche Bank for many years, and he just left that position 2 days ago, and will be joining Qualcomm as their chief strategy officer on Monday. So he's a rare free agent, and hopefully will make some just radical, unhinged remarks as a result of not having to answer to a boss today. So we'll have Brian give some a lead off on 5G. Then we'll have Gerhard Fettweiss, one of our first keynote. We'll introduce him in good time, talk about the tactile internet and other aspects of the, really new requirements that are driving 5G. Farouk Khan, who's a top guy at Samsung, will talk about even beyond 5G possibly getting terabits per second wirelessly. And then we'll have a coffee break, and as Sanjay mentioned, we'll have a poster session with about 20 hand-selected posters from our students that are most relevant to 5G. So we hope this will give a good sampling of some of the research that's going on right now in our center that's not published yet, that we think has possible revolutionary impact. We'll have a talk on wearables, another very emerging application for 5G from Jinju at Qualcomm. And then we'll have something we haven't really had here before, a talk from the automotive industry, which is a huge driver behind 5G. It's something that we think will have a very important business case in 5G and possibly introduce a lot of new requirements. We'll have Gaurav from Toyota. And then we'll have a panel on the role of unlicensed spectrum. Typically, we think of cellular as being licensed, Wi-Fi as being unlicensed, but these lines we think will be blurred considerably, even starting before 5G, with what's going on in LTE and unlicensed spectrum. So we'll use that to then kind of get insight as to what might happen over the next 10 or 20 years as far as spectral policy and how unlicensed spectrum will work. So I guess, then we'll have lunch, and perhaps I'll introduce the afternoon program after lunch. So that's sort of the plan for this morning. And so without any further ado, I'd like to introduce Brian Madoff, who lives here in Austin. We're very fortunate to have him in Austin. He travels the world talking to leading companies about their vision for the future, so has great insight into what's going on and what will be going on over the next several years in telecom. So, Brian.